Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with the Marvel Legends series Kree Sentry Build-A-Figure Waves, Kree Sentry Build-A-Figure. Let's get into it! Let's take a look at the Build-A-Figure, and his no accessories, but that's okay because he's a Build-A-Figure. So first up, let's take a look at the head, and you can see it's kind of at an angle. The ball joint under here is a bit at an angle, so maybe I'll heat that up and try to fix it so it'll sit straight. I don't know if that will work or not. A lot of this head sculpt seems to be molded in this plastic, and it's got a little bit of swirly twirly black in there, but I have to say it's very Kirby looking in the face and the head, and just the design and the lines and stuff. It's very Kirby-esque because this guy did first appear in Fantastic Four. Don't ask me which number, it was kind of early on though. And then, you know, it has a lot of nice sculpted detail throughout this figure. I mean, even on the arms here. And I don't know if they've reused this or if it is reused from anywhere since they've done this figure. But I have to say, you know, this looks very Kirby-esque. The rest of it, not as much. The rest of it looks a little more modern to me. But I'm just happy to get a Kree Sentry. It's not, you know, it's nice to have one. So you can see swirly twirlies all throughout the torso plastic. Maybe not as much in these wrist overlays. It's kind of here in the shoulders a bit. Not so much in the legs. So the legs this may be paint apps. This isn't. Apparently that's not, and the wrist gauntlets are not, and the hands appear to be molded in that same plastic as well. And I have to say, overall, it looks very good, even if it's a mix of Kirby and modern. But the head just really is really cool on this figure. If only it would sit straight. So let's talk about his articulation a bit, because, you know, that's not a whole lot of paint and stuff going on. There's some, but it's not a lot. So he can look up that high, which is good because he's a flying character. He can look down. Hey, he can look down that far. He doesn't really have chicken neck. He's got a little bit of waggle. He can do the full Exorcist. 360 degrees of rotation at the shoulder. And he can raise his arm up so high it pops out of socket. So, if you pop it out of socket and then pop it back in, he can get you, you know, pretty much a 90-degree angle of bend there at the shoulder. And I will say you can see, you know, so that's visually an issue, but engineering wise a necessity. There's a cut here right below the shoulder, 360 degrees there, and that's at the upper bicep, I guess. Single hinge at the elbow, no swivel in that though, and it only gives you that much bend, so not great. 360 degrees of rotation at the wrist, and it's on an in and out hinge. This one is an open palm so that he can shoot his palm beam. and then the other side is a fist. It's an in and out hinge as well, and we'll also do 360 degrees of rotation. Now you have to be careful because sometimes they like to pop out when you do that. So where the chest and the abdomen meet, there is a cut. It gives him all kinds of hula, a 360 degree rotation. He can lean left and right really far. He can lean back pretty well and crunch forward that far, which is okay. It's not great. It's not bad though. Then at the hips, he gives you that much of the splits. He can kick forward that far, which is about 90 degrees. It's almost, not quite. He can kick back that far, and if you let it out swing a little bit more, it would probably go further. But for my purposes, that far. So there is a cut up in this piece, and it does rotate some. It probably will go full 360 degrees, but it doesn't like to. Double hinged pinned knee, and it gives you that much bend. Nothing in the boot. And then at the ankle, it tilts down that far. It tilts up slightly, and then it has a little bit of rocker, not a whole lot. So there you have it, my friends. Excuse me. There's a look at the Build-A-Figure and its no accessories. It's time for my favorite part of a review, comparisons. And here we have the Marvel Legends series Kree Sentry Build-A-Figure wave. At least the members of the assortment who have Build-A-Figure pieces. And that includes the MCU's Captain Marvel with jacket, the MCU Nick Fury, the MCU yon-rogg, the MCU Talos, genis-vell, the Grey Gargoyle, and the Kree Sentry Build-A-Figure. For our last set of comparisons, here we have the Marvel Legends series Kree Sentry Build-A-Figure waves, Kree Sentry Build-A-Figure, with from the Marvel Legends series making his cameo appearance, Stan the Man Lee. From G.I. Joe Classified series, the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Regal variant Cobra Commander. From Star Wars The Black series, the Archive Edition 501st Legion Clone Trooper. And for a 7-inch scale comparison from the Masters of the Universe Masterverse line, the 40th Anniversary He-Man. For final ramblings on the Marvel Legends series, Kree Sentry Build-A-Figure waves, Kree Sentry Build-A-Figure, I have to say, you know, it's an okay Build-A-Figure. I wasn't quite as impressed with it as I wanted to be, so, you know, there was some letdown there. Sculpt wise, it you know, from the neck down, it's very modern, and then the head itself is very Kirby-esque. And, you know, I mean, it's not that it doesn't go together, but I would have liked the rest of it to match the more Kirby aesthetic. But I can understand why they did it the way that they did. Of course, the Kirby aesthetic for the head is much more recognizable, and they can put more detail into a more modern body than they could in a more Kirby-esque body. So I understand why they did it. Lots of swirly twirly plastic going on for this guy. The range of motion isn't the greatest by today's standards. It was pretty standard for Build-A-Figures of the time, and even some more modern Build-A-Figures have about the same range. Some of the newer ones are getting a little bit better. And I keep joking about his no accessories, and that was not, you know, that's what it is. It's a joke. Most Build-A-Figures of the time did not come with any accessories at all. No extra heads, no extra hands, no weapons, like sometimes they do now. Like the Executioner Build-A-Figure, for example, which I didn't finish. He comes with his axe, but that's pretty much something you have to put with the figure. But this guy, other than an alternate head or some different hands, there really are no accessories needed for this guy. But overall, I'm glad that I completed this Build-A-Figure, and I was glad that I could complete it at a fairly inexpensive price because of all the figures needed to complete him that I really did not want. There was actually only one figure in this wave that I wanted, and that was Gray Gargoyle, and when he came out I picked it up. The rest of them I picked up later when they were marked down significantly, and that's when I decided to finish the Kree Sentry here. And again, I'm glad I did it. It's a nice to have one in the collection. I was almost tempted to, because the figures were so cheap, to build another one, but I decided not to do that. I suppose one Kree Sentry is enough in a display because they can cause a lot of damage, a lot of havoc, and they're hard to stop. So I guess one is really all you need. But again, as far as this guy goes, it's a nice looking figure. I do wish that ball joint at the top of the head sat properly rather than at an angle and makes the head sit funky, crooked funky, not like it doesn't sit on the ball. It goes on the ball like it's supposed to. It just sits over to the side a bit. Well, that does it for the review. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. If you are interested in supporting my channel further, I'm now offering memberships at various tiers. Click the join button on my YouTube page, or check this video's description for the link and see if any membership offers are right for you, but only if you are in a position to do so. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you would like to see more content or just help the channel grow, or both. That's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.